All right, welcome folks. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. This is going to be your SITREP. It's 11 a.m. Thought I'd throw something out there a little patriotic today for Memorial Day. And just remembering those that have fallen to bring us our freedoms. And so without further ado, let's hop over to the board. Just a quick note. Don't forget, before we jump over there, that the new app is out, available. It is free. If you subscribe to that bad dude, it will get you pushes to when we are going live. It also gives you access to everything, including the blogs, the shop, etc. So without further ado, let's hop over here to our board. It is, let's see, 5:30 at about 11 a.m. and it's a little busier than I expected, actually, from a Skyglass perspective. Now, also, just remember, if you are digging this app, it is you can actually download it. It's a really good app, probably the best on the market out there right now, and it's only going to get better. I can tell you that straight up. I've seen the changes that are coming, and it's going to be quite spectacular. So, but yeah, you can go over, just Google Skyglass app, and you can look at the same stuff I'm looking at. Create your own watch list. It's pretty diverse, and so. All right, so for today, we are tracking about 113, which is really, that's about half of what we usually see. Again, most of it is kind of East Coast centric. Not as many trainers clogging the things up today. Normally we see a lot of trainer activity across the central U.S. Now, we do have a little patch of them up here in this general region. But let me see, that's actually in Canada. But those are just going to be trainers. Looks like they're up there doing some training today, flight training. But let's get over here real fast to our watch list. I'll just show you what's up for today right now in terms of that. It is not very heavy. We do have one E6 I'm not showing on there right at the moment that rolled out of Oklahoma City. That's going to be a TACAMO. But for the most part, what I am seeing are the military intelligence balloons, and lots of them. We've got probably 6 showing right now. There's a couple low altitude ones you can't see. Get over here to Europe. You can see what we got happening over there. This is going to be just a couple. Of course, our Mil Intel balloons there. Looks like we got an R135 sitting out over the Black Sea, running a little recon there. And then, of course, our air refuel supporting Constanta, which is the only port really anything's getting in and out of from the EU side of the house. All right, now if we get into heavy lifts, kind of light as well. Of course, this is Memorial Day weekend, so NATO is still, I believe, under their exercise. Should be wrapping up if it hasn't already. But from the heavy lifts perspective, you can see kind of broad brush, a little bit of stuff going on down there in Spain and Italy, but it's really kind of light. Again, East Coast centric here in the U.S. Nothing really to speak of today. It's kind of light. It has picked up a little bit since I grabbed these screenshots, but if we look at the refuelers, nothing really to speak of in the US, but the EU is a little bit heavier. You can see stuff come out of Belgium area supporting fighters up over that Constanta and over Bucharest and that general area, which would indicate we do have some fighter activity in that region. Remember, we've got a pretty large presence in Bucharest. All right, so that and Sofia. So there is that one. Now, if we get over here to big picture, you can kind of see it rolling up. Again, not a lot of tanker stuff, just a couple here over Bucharest. But Spain has been getting a little more engaged, as is Canada. Canada's actually, I've been watching a handful of Canadian long-range C-17s, that kind of thing, coming in to Europe over the last couple of days, which is about time, I guess, they got involved. Get back over here to the U.S. again as a roll-up. Not a lot from a air refueling standpoint. We do have one, look like it buzzed down into Central America, C-17 Reachbird. And then that's about it. So, all right, let's get on with what we have. Now, this is the E6 I was telling you about right here. Let me kind of zoom in a little bit. You can see this one. That's going to be your TACAMO. Again, not familiar with that one. It is Airborne Command Center, so that's talking to our ICBMs. But TACAMO basically means take off, move out, and it is a Navy bird, all right? So, okay, and I did see Air Force, or sorry, not Air Force One, but Night Watch was up. It took off out of Abilene a little while ago, and it has since disappeared on me. I'm not seeing it. Let me just see if I've got, yeah, I'm not showing it there. That's just the NAs. So, all right, we won't worry about it. But normally you see it take off, you see it cruising around, but let me see if it's over here on ADSB. Yeah, there she was. Looks like she has already landed. But that's going to be Night Watch, right? That's going to be your doomsday bird. Again, very light in terms of traffic today, but that's to be expected, okay? All right, let's get over here to Flight Radar 24. Let's just take a quick gander. I've got 8, unless there are some double ups in here I don't see, 8 volcanoes spewing right now. Pretty heavy, actually, when you think about it. 4 of them right here from Central America down to South America, and then we've got some activity, which we kind of, expect to see here. Japan still spewing, and then this one up here in Russia. And it'll be interesting to see if we add to it or take away. So, but that is, again, we will look at these because they are aviation ash alerts, and that will keep the pilots from flying into volcanic ash. So, all right, over here to Flashbang, just to show you today, he is headed to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, to be expected. That is pretty much a non-event. It wrapped up today at 1:45, at least on his calendar schedule. We get over to TFRs. Again, not too much to see here. A lot of air shows, as you can see. These yellows, these are air shows popping up in here. Really nothing else. It is just a kind of a slow day. Again, air show stuff for the most part. And then we've got the regular over the Senior Living Center. And then we've got our first storm of the year right here. That is actually expected to be a Cat 3 hurricane that's going to be rolling into that general region. So I'm sure it'll get out over the Gulf here shortly, and then who knows what happens from there. It's pretty warm over the Gulf in terms of water. So, okay, on to our boats and ships, etc. So, what do we have going on here? Now, I took a closer look. You may see here in LAX, because it's kind of our litmus in terms of, are things getting backed up? Are they still kind of producing stuff? Is there anything from Shanghai? I only saw one boat come in from Shanghai the other day. It's probably in right now being unloaded in one of these dots. Remember, a dot means something stationary. It's not moving. If you start to see the arrows, those are ships that are actually in on their way somewhere. So from what I'm gathering, it looks like things are coming out of Long Beach, LA, headed back into like Oakland and Seattle and that kind of thing, not across the drink with empty containers. So you can see there's still stuff flowing, just not flowing to us, which is interesting. But we get into kind of the Shanghai area. You can see still a lot of stuff parked. All right. And so that's an indicator that things are not moving quite as well as they want or we need. The fact that it's not coming to our West Coast means that we are on a long road to recovery, if ever. So As you can see, still a lot of boats parked. All right, and so now they do stage them outside of there because obviously can't get them all into the port. But it's going to take a while to get that going. Now down to Shanghai. I'm just going to show you. Ain't much going on. These folks are definitely being starved out. Don't see really anything. Got a couple coming in. That one's from Ontario. I don't even know where that one's coming from, but not much going on. This is, you can see the same oil tankers were there from before. Same cargo vessels. Looks like there's maybe 2 ships coming inbound to Sri Lanka. That's not a good sign for a country of 22 million people who are being starved. So, okay, over here to the Black Sea, you will notice the flow in and out of Russia is stellar. Even all the way into the other region up here in Mariupol, which Russians control. Constanta's the only port really left, other than there is one a little north of there, but it's insignificant. You see a lot of stuff parked there. A lot of stuff parked there, but those are very small ships. They're not big ones when I got into the details there. So it's an interesting deal. I just say that I don't see anything slowing down for the Russians. They seem to have a very good supply chain flow in and out of the region, coming through the port of Istanbul straight over into their ports. And so there is some news that the Russians are going to allow a little bit of stuff coming through here. We will see what happens. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the news cycle. So, for example, the EU to block seaborne Russian oil deliveries, not the pipelines, to satisfy Hungary. So let's go back over here. You've got Romania here, Bulgaria, and let's see how they're going to get it. So Hungary's here. So I guess any flow that's coming through this port or something, maybe, it looks like they're going to start blocking that. So not good for the area. So it looks like, but it's the EU blocking it, not Russia, which I think is kind of interesting. So nonetheless, you can see they definitely have everybody by the short hairs, okay, in the region. So just a data point, as I always say. And my understanding, by the way, when I say data point, evidently it's now a college drinking game. So I'll try not to say it quite as much to encourage it, all right? So anyway, over to our military vessels. You can see what's going on. A little bit of an uptick in terms of the amount of red dots in the region. I don't see anything out in open water here. We do have one on the move right here that looks to be a Turkish boat. But we were seeing 1 or 2 out here in this general area protecting the port of Constanta. Remember, this is Crimea. That is Russian-controlled space, as is this little water region right here. And so they definitely control the pinch point in and out of here. This bottom piece right here is Ukraine, but the Russians control all of this southern port side of it, as well as up into this general area. So, and again, we're going to be looking for these bad dudes here to start less circles, more arrows, right? So you'll know when all of this is going to go hot, because these guys are going to get out of port, and that's just a data point for us, but we will continue to watch that, all right? All right, Bitdefender, looking a little light today. It must be a holiday here. So looking like Europe and U.S. basically are just kind of exchanging pepper and shots back and forth. This is going to be your cyber threat map. There are multiple different types of attacks and different maps that show different things. This is just my Star Wars map. It just kind of gives us a finger on the pulse, so to speak, of what's going on. But you can see everything from attacks to infections to spam to just a ton of different things. And of course, from a location perspective, if U.S., Romania, Germany seem to be the top tier guys getting peppered today. All right, now let's get over here real fast. Zero Hedge reporting that Zelensky is now signaling that Donbass region is about to fall. And so I do find it interesting. There's people that are reporting things. For example, this guy here is just saying that he's just pro sticking to facts. There's a lot of spin saying that Ukraine is actually, going to win this thing. And the reality is they're getting their teeth kicked in. And so they talk about the Ministry of Truth and the spin that are going on things. It seems like their efforts have been kind of in overdrive from blocking the truth to get in. So go figure, not a shocker. So now here's one that kind of gets your attention. The food insecurity expert predicts, or a food insecurity expert predicts, that there is only 10 weeks of wheat supplies left in the world. I don't know how much I buy in on that, but it is just, again, something you need to just consider. Yeah, we know that this stuff's going on in Russia. We know that that was the bread belt of the region. But there are a couple other data points we have to keep in mind. They just talked about Ukraine is actually in the process of another big production that's being pushed out. It'll hit about August, I think it is. So they're trying to get everything out of the ports right now through Constanta into other areas of the world so that they can take in the next big harvest, which is coming up. They said it was about 3 months out, and that was about 2 weeks ago. So you're looking at probably roughly August timeframe. So if that is the case, are they speculating that they're not going to get this new harvest out, the new production? Maybe. But that puts you right there around that same point, mid-August. Okay. Now, here's the other one, too, that just popped in. I thought I would just bring it to your attention because you may remember Prince Charles was actually talking to, I want to say it was the UN, and he talked about somebody having trillions at his disposal. Who he was talking about, we don't know, but I will tell you there are no trillionaires out there to my knowledge. And so he was talking about somebody specific. And I found it very interesting because Janet Yellen was just meeting over in Glasgow, Scotland, and at a COP26, and she called for world leaders to commit 150 trillion for a global transition of our economy. So it looks like the writing is on the wall. You can see there are several billionaires that have thrown money into the hat. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and then there's a couple others that also had their names in there, but Trudeau, etc. So it is something they're pushing for. We just need to pay attention to it. I don't know what the ins and outs are of it, other than it was spoken of at this summit, and it kind of shows their hand on what they are really trying to accomplish here. It looks like they are going for a major reset, because $150 trillion is a lot of money to keep things floating around the world, right? So it's insane to think it would take that kind of money to actually make the transition. Or you just let it all collapse and sort itself out, right? Okay, now this is another, again, data point. Russian-controlled region in Ukraine starts grain exports to Russia. So it looks like the Russians have begun kind of cherry picking some of this, the grain, and pulling into Russia, which is going to set things off. So maybe that's why we're 10 weeks out. Maybe that's part of what is tied into this in terms of people running out of grain and wheat. No bueno. But you could see it. I'm kind of shocked they haven't already done it, to be honest with you. All right. Now, this one is just something I find interesting, because remember, we just had a recent leak that talked about China invading the U.S. Could it be a two-step approach? Are they going to do Taiwan first, kind of work out the kinks in terms of their military solution and attack strategy, and then emulate that, or do it on a grander scale to the United States? Possibly. Or is it possible that the leaks were actually put out there to see if they had somebody on the inside that was going to be spreading news? I don't know. They could have used that to flush somebody out. And so you never can tell with these things. Although I will tell you, I am shocked they haven't invaded Taiwan yet. I can guarantee that is on the near-term horizon, probably before we get out of summer, only because the Chinese economy is in the toilet. And as they say, war is an economy. And so they're going to definitely be on the war footing to try and get things bounced back around. All right, so just pointing that out. But looks like there is some leakage of talks about them actually invading Taiwan and some of the critical information around that. So, all right. Now, they must have only thing I can think of is maybe they've got a Biden in the mix there that's just leaking classified data. talking about what happens in a skiff. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Anyway, nonetheless, we're over here. This is McGuire Field. This is Joint Base McGuire in Lakehurst, New Jersey. Just want to show you nothing really going on in Fort Biggs in Texas. This is the other base we watch domestically. You can see we've got a Reach flight that rolled out of there, and then an Air Transport International over to Dover. Nothing really else on the board for that area in terms of U.S. Now we get over to Germany. You can see we've got an arrival coming in, and that is going to be one of the Atlas Air 747-400s coming in from Baltimore, Washington. And we've got a Reach bird in, and then a C&V, which is actually going to be a Navy logistics aircraft coming in. And let's see, departure-wise, we do have a camber flight. That's going to be troops, more than likely. You got a Reach going out. There's that the Navy bird leaving. And let's see, a couple of Reach aircraft. Again, this is Ramstein, and then we've got an Air Transport International coming in from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. That could probably, more than likely, that's going to be some troops coming into that too. So, but again, Ramstein is kind of gives us that baseline of what's going on in the region, because everything going in and out of Europe is basically coming through Ramstein. All right, so okay. Over here to the camber flights. Again, this is troops. And you can see it looks like we got somebody headed down into, what is that, Riyadh? Yeah, it looks like they're headed to Riyadh there, inbound. And then another one, it looks like it's headed outbound to Ramstein. All right, so, all right, there are those two. Now, I did have one I was actually tracking. This is it right here, 118, that's headed into that Riyadh area. Again, really light, actually, for the U.S. standpoint, but it is a holiday weekend, so you kind of can see the tempo dipping down a little bit. We'll have to see how it looks on Wednesday. And then this is actually going to be our airbase in Turkey. We're keeping an eye on this one, mainly because this is Syria right here, okay? And so when we start putting troops right there, and we get down into this, you got Lebanon, and then, of course, Israel. That's just why we're watching it, all right? Now, not uncommon for us to have troops in Turkey. They are a NATO country, and we've had bases there for a long time in Turkey. So, but we just keep an eye on it just to see what's going on, keep up with the tempo, okay? All right. Now, you can see the Royal Air Force is extremely busy today. They've got a lot of flights going on in and out of both down in the Middle East, into Europe, very heavy into Europe, even into Italy in the general region. So, again, we just keep an eye on these guys. I don't see anything coming to the U.S. today, but it looks like everything is European-centric for the Brits. Over here to our Omni Air. Just want to show you we've got a flight coming into Fort Worth Alliance, rolling in from Taiwan. That's going to be a 777-200 aircraft. Currently at 37,000 feet, around 632 miles an hour. Clicking. Bad dude is moving. That is a long haul flight right there, folks. There's that one. And then we had another one just dropped off a minute ago that actually flew out of Washington, D.C. up to Rapid City, South Dakota. That's going to be Ellsworth Air Force Base. And that just landed today. Again, that's an Omni Air. So that is more than likely troops also. Okay. More than likely. All right, over to the Ruskies. We've got two flights that are up. One of them you'll notice is down here in Africa, and the other is kind of north of, well, let's see, where is that? It's headed down into the Middle East, which is very interesting. Don't see that too often from the Ruskies. So let's get over here. Let's see if we've got this one a little more dead in our sights. Came out of Moscow, and that's the one that looks to be headed. It's at 35,000 feet, 578 miles an hour, headed kind of into this general region. Now, he may go further south, but I doubt it. More than likely, I don't know. These are dignitaries, by the way. These aren't Russian troops. More than likely, these are going to be kind of like your blue and white SAM flights. Anyway, we'll see where that one ends up. We'll talk about it on Wednesday. And then here's the other one, which is really kind of surprising. To see it down in this general area. That bad dude is he's in Central Africa right now, headed southbound. He's at 36,000 feet, 522 miles an hour. Um, hmm. Very interesting. We'll see where this ends up as well. We'll talk about that one on Wednesday. All right, over here to our immigration machine. I just show you what we've got. We've got some flights. Looks like one headed from San Diego up to Kentucky, El Paso to Alexandria. Remember, Alexandria, Louisiana, that is a 72-hour holding facility. Usually those are folks that are going to a jail type scenario, and then they get exfilled out of the country or exported. Tucson to Laredo, and then Miami down to Central America, and then McAllen, again, another one down there to Guatemala. So it's very interesting. I know we've had an uptick, and just noticed that most of these are coming out of border locations headed eastbound or southbound. All right. Doesn't look like we're seeing the Amazon machine being fed. It appears that that has kind of come down to a little bit of a lull. Everything looks to be, again, serving two masters, everything looks to be headed southbound out of the country. So somebody is getting sent home. So, okay, over here real fast just to see. Let's see, we looked at that a minute ago. We did have this German Air Force that landed in, let's see, that was Bermuda. Looks like it's headed into D.C. Just kind of give you an idea what that looks like. I did add that to my watch list. It's a beautiful little airplane. That's somebody high-level dignitary coming in to the United States. Again, that is a beautiful little aircraft. And let's see. That's your Bombardier 7000, high dollar. So anyway, we'll just keep an eye on that, see who that could be. There is no telling. I doubt it's Klaus, but it's definitely a German dude coming into the country. All right, now, last up, as we just kind of get to the bottom of our hour here, one of the things I was going to tell you is if you get a chance this evening, there is a meteor shower that is expected to be a meteor storm. They just figured this one out recently. It posted about a week ago, 1,000 shooting stars per hour. So I do remember the same meteor shower segment that you passed through happening about 30 years ago when I was in Georgia. And I remember being outside and watching this same type of event take place. That was absolutely insane. There were actually huge fireballs about every 30 seconds going across the sky, and it was actually remarkable. I have never seen anything like it or seen anything since. But this is supposed to be the same thing. So I just want to push this out there. If you get a chance tonight when it gets dark and you want to go kick back in the patio, you don't have to have somewhere super dark, although that is better. But they're saying this could be a pretty big fireball event. So anyway, just something to put in your quiver if you got nothing to do this evening and want to stay up late and watch this stuff. Again, if it's anything like it was 30 years ago, it's going to be pretty spectacular. So, all right, well, listen, that is going to be it for our SITREP today. I hope you guys have a safe and rest of a Memorial Day. Enjoy your time off, and we'll be back on Wednesday with this world as it keeps on spinning. So, all right, that's it. You guys stay safe, keep that powder dry, and stay frosty beyond all things. So that's it. God bless. Monkey out.